So I saw the Fantastic Four First Steps on July 24th, and you might be wondering why this video review is coming out almost a month, actually no, more than a month after the movie came out, and that's because of two reasons. Number one is shortly after I saw the movie, specifically 2 days, I went on vacation, and in between then, I didn't have time to make this video. And the second reason is after I got back from my trip, I really contemplated for a while as to whether or not I wanted to make this video because it had been such a long time. And whenever I make my movie reviews, it's always like the day after or close to when the movie released. So it was really just a combination of those two things, but then recently I just decided, you know what the heck, I'll make a video review anyway. Ever since I saw the movie, I've been wanting to make this video because I've just been wanting to talk about it. But in regards to the film itself, it's actually pretty good. I fairly enjoyed it. It wasn't fantastic or anything, pun intended, but overall it's a solid movie. And I'm gonna be giving my thoughts on it, but this video will include spoilers for the Fantastic Four First Steps, even though it feels like there's no point in putting a spoiler warning since everyone who's wanted to see the movie has probably already seen it. But if you still haven't seen the movie and you want to, then click off this video right now because from this point onwards, I'm going to be going over some major spoilers. You're still here? Alright, let's do this. So the first thing that I really liked about the movie, and something that I thought was really unique, was how they explained the backstory of the characters. This film is kind of an origin story, and obviously the Fantastic Four's introduction into the MCU, but I like how they gave us their backstory in a 60s style documentary, which not only fits the time period that the movie is placed in, but it's also just very unique instead of them dedicating the first 20 to 30 minutes of the movie telling us how they got their powers. I just thought that was cool. I like how they use the 60s style aesthetic. I like the little cartoon theme song that they had. I forgot exactly how it goes since it's been more than a month since I've seen the movie, but I thought it was kind of cool. It also made for some pretty funny moments. But another thing I think that they did very well was the Fantastic Four themselves. Like, they were actually surprisingly good, and I really liked them a lot. My personal favorite was Johnny, who I was not expecting to like as much as I did, and I really like what they did with him in this film because in previous iterations, more specifically the 2000s versions, he's kind of shown to be very cocky and arrogant and honestly just kind of an idiot. But in this film, he deciphers a whole alien language and literally talks to the Silver Surfer in her native tongue. Like, it is crazy how freaking smart he is. And yeah, I know it's explained that Reed Richards specifically chose him for the space mission, not just because he's his brother-in-law, but also because he's one of the smartest people he knows. And I like how we actually get to see how intelligent he is. The other characters were pretty cool too, like the Thing and Sue Storm. I like how all the Fantastic Four members got their little moments to shine against Galactus, and also how they just casually use their powers throughout the film, like that one moment where there's a blackout and Johnny partially lights himself up so that way he becomes a light source. I just thought that their powers and the way that they used them were pretty cool. But another thing or person I thought was really cool was Galactus, and I'm gonna be honest, he was a lot smaller than what I thought he was. I guess just because I'm so used to seeing him as this extremely gigantic unit, like whenever he's standing next to a planet, it looks like a freaking dodgeball compared to him. And also too, I've seen that one image of him devouring the earth where he's just freaking massive. And even though in this film he's not that much taller than a really big skyscraper, he still was an absolute unit, and he still put up a very good fight against the Fantastic Four at the climax of the movie. In fact, he put up such a good fight against them that there were a lot of moments where I genuinely thought he was going to win. And I actually thought that's how the movie was gonna go, that Galactus was gonna win and then the Fantastic Four would have to flee their universe and go to the MCU universe. And that's something I briefly talked about in my Thunderbolts review, because in the post-credit scene for that film, you can see the Fantastic Four ship arriving on the main MCU Earth. And I made a prediction that some cataclysmic event was going to happen in the Fantastic Four First Steps that would cause the main characters to leave their universe and go to the main MCU timeline. Which, don't get me wrong, is really cool, but I'm not gonna lie, it kinda does ruin the ending of Fantastic Four, as obviously something really bad is going to happen to where they have to flee their universe and go to the main MCU universe. So I don't know if it's going to be something where Galactus or the Silver Surfer is too powerful and they have to leave, or the freaking world blows up, or whatever the heck happens. But now we know that something so catastrophic or some giant threat is going to appear that the Fantastic Four is unable to defeat, or something happens to where they end up going to the main universe to either get more people to try and defeat this threat or just warn them that something big is coming. I don't know what the heck's gonna happen. Obviously we're gonna have to wait until July 25th to find out, but everything I've said about it is just my prediction. I could be completely wrong. So yeah, turns out I was completely wrong about that. Now I have no idea when that post-credit scene takes place, and if I had to guess, it probably will take place midway through Avengers Doomsday, where the Fantastic Four are fighting Doctor Doom, and they realize that he's too powerful for them to handle by themselves, so they leave their universe and go to the main MCU universe, and they recruit the new Avengers to help them fight Doctor Doom. But again, that's just my prediction. I could be right or wrong, and it looks like we're gonna have to wait roughly a year and a half to find out, because Avengers Doomsday doesn't come out until December 18th, 2026. So until then, I don't know what the heck's gonna happen. I mean, obviously Doctor Doom is gonna become the next big MCU villain, kind of like Thanos was. But speaking of Doctor Doom, we actually got our first sneak peek as to what he's going to look like, as in the first post-credit scene of the movie, you can see him interacting with Frank Richards. Unfortunately, you don't see what he actually looks like, you only see the green hood and the mask, but I still think it's freaking dope that we're finally getting to see what he's going to look like, even if it's just a little snippet. But also, speaking of fighting, the fight scenes were actually really cool, specifically that black hole scene against the Silver Surfer. That was easily the best scene in the freaking movie. I actually sat up in my chair because I was genuinely wondering what the heck was gonna happen. Looking back on it in hindsight, yeah, obviously they're not gonna die since this film is their introduction to the MCU, but honestly, that scene had me doubting that a little bit. It was honestly just a very cool moment. The black hole, the CGI for that looked amazing, the CGI for the Silver Surfer looked amazing. The whole scene was just very tense, with Sue Storm giving birth to Frank Richards at the same time as Johnny Storm and the Thing trying to bait the Silver Surfer into the black hole. It was just a very cool, intense moment. Again, easily the best moment in the entire film, and I honestly hope we get more scenes like that in future MCU movies because it was just so freaking cool. But now I'm gonna get into the one thing that I didn't like about the movie, and that was the fact that it was just really generic. And that doesn't make it a bad movie. In fact, I still enjoyed it, like I said at the beginning of this video, but it's just kind of another cliche Marvel movie where you're introduced to the good guys, the big bad guy shows up threatening to destroy the planet, the good guys defeat the big bad guy, and they all go home and everyone lives happily ever after. Or I guess not so much, since in the post-credit scene Doctor Doom showed up. This film felt like just another Marvel movie, and again, that's not a bad thing, but when it was over, I kind of just left the theater like, alright, that was another Marvel movie. I mean, it was good, but again, it just felt really generic. Everything else about it was good, but that's just the one thing I don't like about it. So all in all, I give the Fantastic Four First Steps a 7 out of 10. If you like Marvel movies, then this film will definitely be enjoyable for you, but if you don't, then I'd say do not watch this film. And that's going to do it for the video. Thank you for watching, and yeah, peace.